So day 21, so really starting to get along the trail now. So I'm at Foothills, which is around about 730 miles or 1170 kilometres from the start point. So still got a little bit of a way to go, but from here it's getting close. I know I'm really close to the sea crossing, or the crossing of Norton Sound, part of the Barron Sea, and from there I'm almost there. So after I got out of the cabin, it was a fantastic morning. So really clear sky. It was pretty cold, but just watching the sunrise over the mountains and the moon set over the sea ice just kind of kept me really occupied with the scenery, and it kind of just reminded me of why I was here, to kind of enjoy the experience and kind of have a look at remote parts of the world that most people will never see. So it was pretty low wind, it was a good trail, I felt really good because I'd slept, I'd had an easy day, and now I was ready to sort of cover a little bit of ground. So got over the sort of final rise and then down the other side, did a little bit more sled riding down there, so it made it quite enjoyable, and I was having a little bit of fun. And from there it was out onto the sea ice sort of thing. So there was a little bit of sea ice, and then from there it went across a little bit of ground and up a peninsula, but really exposed the whole way, and there was a fair bit of wind. So as I got out there, I kind of put my jacket on, covered up, got ready for a fair bit of wind, had something to eat before I went out because I knew once I was out there it was going to be limited. It was just whatever snacks I could put in my pocket. So I got out there. The fur ruff worked brilliantly. So underneath the fur ruff, I could really hear nothing. It was almost complete silence, and I didn't realise just how windy it was until I turned my head into the wind, or I pulled my hood back just to see what it was like, and I could just feel the wind and the cold hitting me. So the ruff worked its arse off, and I was really glad. So it wasn't just something that looked really cool and was aesthetic, it actually had a really good practical purpose to it. And although I didn't use it a lot up until this point, I was glad that I had it. And to be honest, I was kind of disappointed once I started using it because I just really enjoyed having it. And it was kind of quite nice having the ruff around your head and making this sort of own little personal space within there. So I got out on the sea ice. It was mostly pretty good going. Here and there, you'll sort of hit patches of ice where it's really smooth. And because I didn't have spikes, you sort of just got to be a little bit careful that you don't skate around on the ice. But for the most part, it just had enough traction that you could walk along it without any issues. So once I got out there, you could sort of see the wind turbines in the far distance that were part of Shaktoolik, and in my mind I was kind of hoping they were on the far side or further up into the hills, knowing that probably wasn't the case. That's probably where the village was. So I start walking, kind of walked for several hours up until about lunchtime or close to lunch, and then I could start to make out some of the little houses in the village, and then you think, okay, I'm maybe about an hour away or so, but in reality you're probably about 2.5 hours away, 3 hours away, because you can just see so far across the ice, and you're kind of hoping that it's not the case, but it is what it is. You just keep walking. So kind of just trying to close that distance, keep myself occupied, try not to get too excited about I'm that close to the village, because in reality I've still got another hour or so to occupy my mind. So once I closed on the town, you start to get to a point where, yeah, okay, I'm here now, and then it comes up off the sea ice onto the peninsula and then down the main street that ran through the town. So from there, it's just walking down. It's probably about another 2k's down the main street before I hit the school. And because it was a Sunday, the school was locked, but thankfully there was a couple of people that had been staying there that had just come out of the school as I got there. So I was able to go in, set up for a little bit, and then we're kind of informed of the sort of moderate fee to stay there. And I was kind of summing up whether I should stay at the school or whether I should try and push for the little mountain shelter cabin that was further down the trail. And I knew that it may not be so warm in there, and I had a really good opportunity for a comfortable sleep here. I had a kitchen to cook in, I had fresh water to get, I had bags that I could restock, and access to a number of things that would make life really easy for me. So I decided, rather than push the next kind of 12 to 15 miles or whatever it was, and then risk hitting a cabin that may not have a door that closes properly, it may not have a heater, and it may be an uncomfortable sleep, I thought I'll just stay here, get a good sleep, get up about 1 a.m, and then kind of get out, push to the cabin, have breakfast, and then push all the way through to Kyouk, which was the next town, or the next village across the sea ice, which was about 41 miles away, so about 66 kilometres. So I sorted myself out, got down early, got a good sleep, and then got ready for another good day, because I felt good now, so I figured another pretty solid day wouldn't really hurt me. I was in good condition, so I was really happy with where I was, quite confident that the wind was going to drop, the crossing wouldn't be too bad, and things would go really well for me from here. So I was starting to get pretty confident that my chances of getting Nome, or getting to Nome, were pretty high. So you can sort of see just how hard the wind was blowing. I've kind of added a little video on the end here just that Ryan took, just so give you a little bit of narration about the school. It's a pretty cool video, so I've left it in just to hear from a different voice on the trail.
A little locker action. So this is high school on the tribal land, I guess, a tribal school. Schools always seem to be the best building in any town. A lot of trophies, some pretty cool artifacts. This statue thing you see a ton of, some scrimshaw work. What else? And then how cool is that? These guys are the Wolverines. Some different native art.